This is my built gaming rig. That little piece floating around is a screen that when I put it together, when I built it, you can see the screen on the inlet side, or the outlet rather, which should have a filter on it. But when I originally built it, I had a screen on the return, and I didn't want to take it all back apart, so I just opened up the little vent cap where you add, and I stuck a bent up paper clip in there, and I was able to unscrew it and knock it out, so it's there. But what's happening right now in my gaming computer is this flow rate is crazy, right? That's like the maximum flow of my fully modded D5 pump. And my gaming rig just does this at every second it runs now. It's a very cool running computer for sure. What happened is my flow meter. Yes. My gaming rig. I built this back in 2018. It's a 1080 Ti card, but I had a great time building it. You know, I bent up all the tubes. It's all 16 millimeter PETG tubing, and it runs on just distilled water, nothing special. I don't put any colors or any additives in it, just pure distilled water, and it doesn't grow any algae in it. I printed these little flags, see them? So that the airflow from the two fans going will help direct air down to the motherboard. And I made a lot of parts for this, but what's happening is this guy right here, you see it? Despite all this flow, that much water pushing through it, the flow meter does not move. That thing is stuck solid. These two wire harnesses here and here, here and here, are for my for the lights inside of my RGB fittings for my tubes. This one right here is the sensor that goes down to the motherboard for the water flow meter to tell it how much water is actually flowing. And unfortunately right now, the motherboard thinks there is no water flowing, so it just keeps amping it up. And don't you know, I have a fully modded D5 pump underneath in this thing. I'll show you where I put it if I can. This is this computer is 2 levels. The top level is the motherboard and my awesome little Bits Power water block on top of the 1080 Ti reference card, which was a very awesome card when I bought it. I know y'all are on RTX now, but this was pretty awesome when I built it. Okay. So this awesome little computer rig is really cool, right? It has full-on drains right in the back of it. There's where the fill line goes in and goes up, and you can fill it into there. And down here is where the drain leads out, so you can drain it. So right on the back of the case, like right here is a fill plug, and right here is a drain plug, so I can fill and drain it nice and easy. There is my pump, right down there. In between the two lines, you can see where the in and out go, and then here's where they all go in. It's actually really tame inside of here. I spent a lot of time setting this up, working on my electrical. There were so many wires to run because every single fitting is an RGB fitting. So every single fitting has wires running off of it, and there are so many fittings. It's just one circuit. It runs on a loop. It runs from the incredibly quickly flowing reservoir into my pump. It runs out of my pump, comes up, goes into the graphics card, comes out of the graphics card, goes into the first water block. The first water block is huge. It just sits out of the back. Our radiator just sits out of the back of the case, and there's a fan blowing on it. And then it comes out of the top of the radiator and goes right into the processor. Comes out of the processor, and when it comes out of the processor, it goes into the second radiator that's inside the front of the case. It's an Alpha Cool. It's a double 120. And then it comes out of that, the top of that radiator, and then comes through the flow meter, and then dumps back into the reservoir. This system works very, very effectively. I do not have runaway temperatures at all. In fact, the biggest problem I have with this is getting my RGB lights to sync up, because the motherboard controls RGB lights, but the RGB fittings that I got have their own separate controller and will not work with the motherboard's RGB controller. So the only thing I can find that I really do is I get to just leave it all on this one color, or leave it all where it's scrolling around, or however. And I guess the whole time I've done this, the lights on these have been on blue, so those aren't scrolling around. Anyway, I have to replace this now. This will be the first part that I change on this computer that I built like a handful of years ago now. It's been a great machine. It hasn't leaked a drop of water, which was incredible. This was my first water-cooled rig. I'm very happy with it. And it just sucks that every second it runs now, even when it idles. That's all you hear. But we'll get her fixed.